Every video and episode of the It's Cavalier podcast is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoy the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos, podcasts, member shoutouts, and more. And as always, thank you for watching. I don't know about you guys, but I certainly felt waking up this morning pretty damn good about the Cleveland Cavaliers' chances in Game 3 versus the Indiana Pacers. Look, there is no way around it. Cavs are down 2-0, right? We know what the big reasoning for that is. It's most of it points to injuries, but you can't lie. Game 2 left a lot to be desired in the ending stages of that game. The final few possessions in Game 2 were just flat out ridiculous. The Cavaliers had a 95% chance to win in the last 2 or 3 minutes of that contest, and they were not able to bring it home after a magnificent performance from Donovan Mitchell, after pretty damn good performances from the likes of Max Strus, from Jared Allen. You got something from Sam Merrill, and we already know how badly Ty Jerome has struggled. And we know that the Cavaliers, without the services of Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter, have really, really struggled to put additional offensive weapons out there, guys who can create their own shot, a la DG and DeAndre Hunter. And you can really lump Evan Mobley in there as he's beginning to put 2 and 2 together. He is beginning to put that part of his game together. So you are down a tremendous amount of talent. Despite that, the Cavaliers have showed heart and many moments of these last 2 games. But we did get some good news. Per Spencer Davies and a couple of other outlets, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and DeAndre Hunter were all at Cavs shoot around here for Game 3. And this is coming after they all participated in shoot around for Game 2. Now, look, this is non-live, right? There's no contact. This is just guys putting shots up in the gym. In Indiana, mind you, right? Because Game 3 and Game 4, beyond are going to take place, at least for right now, in Indy. That's going to be a tough environment to play in. That's something to keep an eye on within itself. Home court advantage, you know what that means. And the Cavaliers entered the playoffs with home court advantage, but you guys know it can be really, really, really fickle. I expect Indy fans to be chirping. I expect them to be chomping at the bit to put this series to bed. I expect nothing less from them because these last 2 games, the crowd in Cleveland at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse has been phenomenal, especially in Game 2. They were loud. They were raucous. They were making themselves known out there, and that often gives the home team a boost. We know what fans can bring to the table, but at the end of the day, it was really, really nice to get to see DeAndre, Evan, and Darius out there putting up some shots. And I didn't see a split. I didn't see anything on DeAndre Hunter's hand and on the shooting hand, right? Maybe my eyes are deceiving me, but I did not see anything wrapped up. I didn't see a split. I didn't see anything taped together. And you can't really tape your thumb to anything. So it's not like you get an injury to your middle finger or your ring or your index, whatever, what have you. You can't really tape it to anything. And that being on your shooting hand, that makes things even more difficult. But we did see him putting up some shots out there. And, for what it's worth, again, non-contact, non-live, it's just shots being put up. So we have to take it with a grain of salt. But I'm telling you, man, I think the pressure is on. And we've heard numerous people, get on and discuss how severe they think these injuries are. And let me be the first person to say this. I understand why people are so frustrated with Cleveland as an organization from a injury perspective, right? The Cavs, for some reason, keep relying on this whole strategic advantage thing in reference to whether or not to list their players a specific way. We keep seeing them being listed as questionable. You can go back to last year and beyond with the Jared Allen bullshit with the ribs and whatnot. And I'm not calling this injury bullshit. I'm just saying the discourse surrounding it. Due to them labeling it a certain way, i.e., questionable, that leaves the door open in the fans' mind, including myself at times. Can this guy really play? Why is he being listed as questionable? Should we really be putting stock into whether or not he's actually going to be able to suit up? And I think the Cavaliers, much like you saw with Golden State the other day, just immediately rule Steph Curry out for, what was it, game 2 of the OKC series. It is not beyond the realm of possibility for the Cavaliers just to rule these guys out ahead of time. But for some strange reason, they keep going to the whole reasoning of strategic advantage, right? Not letting Indiana or whoever else your opponent may be know whether or not this particular player is going to suit up. And in the case of the Cavaliers, 3 different players right now. So you're leaving Indiana kind of playing the guessing game and in regards to who is going to be in that starting lineup, whether it be a Sam Merrill or a Ty Jerome or a Dean Wade or Isaac Okoro. I understand the thought process, but I just don't think it's worth it. I seriously don't believe that it's worth going through all the heartache for, because you got people labeling specific players on your roster soft. We saw it all last postseason. We saw it all offseason, honestly, with Jared Allen. People will always question how tough a player is, how or why they did not choose to suit up when the pressure and the magnitude of the moment are so high. I just think that not giving them a real designation, because I don't really consider questionable a real designation. Like, I understand that you don't know, especially if you're Kenny Atkinson, who has admitted, like, I don't really know if they're going to play. He's guessing just as much as we are based upon some of the quotes that we have gotten pulled from him. But at the end of the day, it only adds fuel to the fire. That's what I'm trying to say. It only adds fuel to the fire in regards to these injuries, because people are going to wonder whether or not these guys really were healthy enough to suit up and just didn't feel like they wanted to that day, or what type of mentality they have, right? Do they have that Kobe or Jordan mentality? And those are the 2 players that I continuously hear, like, Kobe would have played on a broken ankle and, stuff like that. And it's crazy, because we constantly put ourselves in a situation where we are not putting ourselves in their shoes. We're just expecting them to suit up. And I think a lot of that is tied to the questionable label. If you just remove that, if you just don't report on it at all, or if you just, I don't know if you're not putting them on the injury report at all as out or whatever, what have you, but you're not really doing them justice when you do that. You're really making fans feel as if they're just not suiting up. And I'm not putting myself in that category, because I try to do my best to understand, hey, it's not my body. I don't know how the hell you guys feel. I don't know whether or not your dislocated thumb, and I would imagine that's fucking painful, especially on your shooting hand. I don't know how impactful you're going to be able to be. Darius Garland with the sprained toe. I don't know how impactful with the guard who relies on speed, quick twitch ability, the ability to bring the ball up the floor is going to be very important against Indiana moving forward, as it has been all series long. I don't know how severe the injury is, but based upon the reporting, based upon what we've heard, guys like Brian Windhorst say in recent interviews, it's a serious injury. It's something that he has been playing through for a while, and it kind of just spiked up, and it's been something that he hasn't been able to get past over the last 4 games. He's missed the last 4 games. Now, Darius Garland putting up those shots out there, moving around on that bench, that's probably also not helping people, because I'm sure everybody saw him jumping up and down at moments in game 2. But that's completely different from playing the game at an NBA level, right? And Evan Mobley, right? It was being reported, at least for a little while, that he could barely even walk. He could barely even put weight on it. But I'm going to play the clip again. He's moving. It may be more stationary shots, but he certainly looks like he can put weight on that foot. So I'm hoping that Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter can tough it out tonight, or at the very least, can we get one or two of these guys back? Because I truly believe that one to two of these talents really shifts the whole talent discrepancy of this series. It changes the tide. It turns the tables. It truly does, because these are really, really impactful players. The Cavaliers are literally missing 1/3 of their playoff rotation. That's huge, especially against a team as good as Indiana. They have proven themselves to be an elite foe. They have proven themselves to be a pesky defensive team. They're doing all these things out there that you can't overcome by sheer next man up mentality. You have to be able to go out there and execute. And I know that some of that boils down to coaching, some of that boils down to the players just stepping up. As I mentioned, Jerome has just been ass in these last 2 games. But at the end of the day, you have to get more out of some of these guys. And when you can't, frankly, you just need the talent back. And that is why I'm hoping, against all odds, that 1 to 2 of these guys, if not all 3, end up suiting up tonight. And I think it would make a huge deal in this game. Now, I know there are those out there that believe, even with the return of Darius, even with the return of Evan, even with the return of DeAndre, possibly, that this is likely to be over in 4 to 5 games via Indiana, especially if you're a Pacers fan. I'm sure you believe that it doesn't matter. The Cleveland Cavaliers are out of this because you believe your team is that good. And look, man, credit where credit is due. I have a lot of respect for the Indiana Pacers. I mentioned before the series even started in my preview that I felt that this series would go at the very least 6 games, and I'm going to hold true to that. But here's the thing. Nobody foresaw the injuries coming. And as much as we want to say, oh, you know what, things happen, everybody's playing through shit come the playoffs, some injuries matter more than others. And clearly, even as a Pacers fan, if you're a reasonable fan of basketball, you can understand how much talent Cleveland is missing and how hard that is come this point in time of the year to overcome. And so if the Cavaliers do end up getting a couple of these guys back, or possibly all 3, even if they're not at 100%, and rest assured, they will not be. There is no scenario in which any one of these guys is going to come back at full strength tonight. But even if you get a 75, 80% version of themselves, that's still better than nothing. That's still better than not having them out there. And then it's a double-edged sword too. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's keep it 100. There will be those fans out there. If they decide to suit up, let's say Darius Garland goes out there and puts up a stinker, and there will be fans that say, oh man, he's sold, he choked. There will be a whole contingent of people, as there typically is in these situations, that no matter whether or not he plays or not, if he plays poorly, if he's not having a good performance, and this goes for Evan and DeAndre as well, but there are always those fans out there that will, shit on you. No way, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But to me, Darius in a situation, Evan in this situation, DeAndre in the situation, if they go out there, they lace them up, they don't look well, but they gave it their all. That just makes me respect them even more. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how you feel about all that, but I'm going to have even more respect for you because at the very least you tried. You gave it your best. And again, I don't know how they feel. I'm not in their bodies. People can speculate all the live long day about how severe the injuries are, but we're not them. And that's what I continuously try to let people know, man. Just, these are human beings. They're not robots. But at the end of the day, I mean, there are always going to be those people out there, no matter how the performance goes. It's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I'm feeling really good about game 3. After watching what I saw in game 2, I know the game ended so poorly. The Tyrese Halliburton pull-up triple over Jerome just kind of, it really dotted the I on the series as a whole for Jerome. It truly did. It's just been a terrible series for who came off an explosive performance and limited action against the Miami Heat in round 1. And what have I continued to say? Miami is on a completely different tier than the Indiana Pacers. Indy is way better. Indy has been way better for the entirety of the season than the Miami Heat, who had to scratch and claw their way through the play-in tournament to get into round one. So there's a huge leap between those two teams. But Ty Jerome has shown all season long that he has been a capable offensive talent, more than capable. He's a finalist for Sixth Man of the Year. He was that good. He was that efficient, that effective. And it's not as if the man was not getting to his shots, not getting to his spots, not getting to good looks around the rim or in the mid-range with the pull-up floater. There are numerous opportunities that he has missed to make an impact in this series, whether that be as a playmaker, whether that be on the defensive end, whether that be on the offensive end. In all facets of the game, Ty Jerome hasn't nearly been as impactful as we expected him to be in this series. And I thought, honestly, this, like the matchup between himself and TJ McConnell, who has been pretty good for Indiana through these first two rounds, I thought that was going to be a huge one. Turns out that they have basically voided Ty Jerome. They have nullified him. They have making sure that he is taken out of the series. And you knew that he was going to be part of the game plan coming in with how well that he has performed all season long, how well he performed in round one. Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, TJ McConnell and company, they have made life very difficult on Ty Jerome. And I don't think that is by purely coincidence. This is something that they game plan for, and they have just taken him out. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He has to be better. I don't care if Darius, I don't care if Evan, I don't care if DeAndre come back. The one thing that is certain is that Ty Jerome has to be better moving forward. And the problem is, beyond Ty Jerome, you don't have many other capable ball handlers outside of maybe Craig Porter Jr., who did provide impact in game two, and I felt should have got a little bit more time than he did. But beyond that, there aren't many like truly reliable ball handlers. You can try and see, failing all else, if Jalen Tyson can provide you anything, you could, I suppose, go that route. But I don't know how much Kenny Atkinson truly trusts Jalen Tyson to be able to play big time playoff minutes, because this would no doubt be the biggest moment of his young career. I just don't see that happening. So you have to get more out of Ty Jerome. You have to get more out of some of your offensive creators, and Ty certainly qualifies as such. It cannot be Donovan Mitchell and Max Strus above all else. And, you can throw Jared Allen there as well, because when they have actually managed to feed Jared Allen, whether that be in the DHO or via pick and roll set or in transition, when they have fed Jared Allen, he has been impactful. But the problem with Jared Allen is that when Evan Mobley is not out there, it puts even more onus on him to cover up for the defensive deficiencies of whoever starts in the backcourt. Yeah, I have no doubt that Max Strus can hold his own on the defensive end as well, but we know that Max isn't necessarily the greatest defender out there. He tries, he hustles, got to give him that, and he was really, really good in game two. But at the end of the day, without Evan Mobley out there, without DeAndre Hunter out there, two of the best defenders on this roster, and in the case of Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year, it puts a lot of onus on Jared Allen to step up on both ends. So he is extremely tired. He's extremely exhausted. And you heard Kenny Atkinson echo as much with the entire rotation, right? These guys are exhausted come game two, as it became a battle of attrition. And we knew with the pace, the breakneck pace that Indiana plays with, being within the top 5 during the postseason, entering the series, and in the top 10, I think they were 7th during the regular season in pace this year, and Cleveland's in the top 10 as well. But it's like when you're talking about pace, it's completely different for some teams. Like sometimes teams truly just get the ball up the court very, very quickly. They execute their sets very, very quickly, and some teams have a completely different way of doing that. Whether that's in transition, whether that is literally just sprinting down and moving the ball in such a way that it doesn't give your opponent an opportunity to get set defensively. There are just so many different things that Indiana can do that really can stifle your defense and make you work on that end of the floor and tire you out by the end of the game. And they will exploit mismatches as well on the offensive end when it suits them. And they've done that with Cleveland, and it's been something that Cleveland have struggled with at times, whether that be Pascal Siakam getting the switch on Max Strus or Sam Merrill out there at times. We've seen Donovan Mitchell be switched on. And this is not to say that Cleveland is losing these battles. It's just that you're exerting a lot more energy than you really thought you would coming into this series. So you never really wanted it to be an extended series. You didn't want it to go 6 or 7 games. But I think we all know with the talent level of these two teams that it was always likely to get there. And just 2 games in, we're at a point now where that may not even be the case. If Indiana wins tonight, you could probably kiss this whole thing goodbye. And that is coming from the most optimistic Cavs fan out there. That's coming from one of the most positive outlookers out there. If the Cavaliers end up losing game 3, the series is done. There is no way they're going to be able to win 4 straight games at that point. Now, the last live stream, I said, hey, I believe the Cavaliers will likely win the next 2 games. I think Indiana takes game 5, and then the Cavaliers win 2 more games after that. That would be a 7-game series. But that was before I knew that DeAndre, Evan, and Darius were all taking place and all putting up shots as shoot around. And again, it's not a real indication of anything. It's just guys getting up shots. But the confidence level does rise. Let's say the Cavaliers do get these guys back tonight. They win game 3. There is not really a lot that's there's not a lot of evidence that says Cleveland couldn't go out there and win 4 straight and end this series in 6 games. Not if you're an Indiana Pacers fan watching this live stream, you probably think I'm an idiot or I'm delusional. But trust me, this team, when they're at full strength, they are that good. And we have to throw out what we have seen during the regular season, obviously, between these two teams. But at the end of the day, it's pretty clear that even down the players that they can still give you a hell of a fight. And they did that to Indy in game 2. They did that in the second half of game 1. And that's the other thing. Like from a defensive standpoint, the intensity in that second half of game 1, and then for about 3.5 quarters in game 2 was really, really high. I was really impressed on that end with what they were able to do from to players like Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton, and completely taking them out of it into the final few possessions of that game. Because let's just be honest, let's call spade a spade. It's not exactly like those guys were having terrific games before that occurred. It truly did not feel like Tyrese Halliburton was having the type of game that will lead to a game-winning shot over Ty Jerome. Although he would finish the game 7 of 11, if I'm not mistaken, in the Cavaliers' 1-point loss, including 2 of 2 from deep. It did not feel as if Tyrese Halliburton was having like a great game. It just did not feel that way. Same thing with Siakam, who was, into the game 5 of 8. The Cavaliers, it was all in all a game that they by and large should have won, and it didn't. So you got to credit Indy for that. But again, the Cavaliers get these guys back and they win game 3. There really isn't anything saying, no real evidence that you can point me in that would make me believe that they can't or are incapable of winning the next 4 games. But it's all going to come down to tonight, because again, if they fail to win game 3, it's over. I don't care how you slice it. I just do not see them being able to win 4 straight. You can win the next 2, give Indiana 1 more, and then win the next 2 after that. But there's no way in hell. There's no way in hell they would be winning 4 straight. I just don't see it happening. So I think the possibility of Cavs in 6 still remains, but it's heavily contingent upon the health. It truly is. And I hate to hinge it on that, but that's just the reality of the situation. If the Cavaliers can get some of these guys back, at least 2 of them, the possibility of them coming back in this series, roaring back, is still very much there. Because 1, it puts guys back in more natural roles, right? Now, here's something that we have seen in the first two games of this series, and I already mentioned his name numerous times. If this does not tell you that on this team at least that Ty Jerome may not be the best option alongside Donovan Mitchell, I don't know what else will. Right. And this is not to say that Ty Jerome could not be a starter elsewhere, because I truly believe that he could. He's a starter on many other teams. But maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just this matchup, this specific matchup. But at the end of the day, it's clear for those people who felt that Ty Jerome deserved to be starting over Darius Garland. This has made things crystal clear to those people, I hope, at the very least. Darius Garland is the superior player. He's a guy that is built for these types of matchups. He does not get as bothered as Ty Jerome in a press situation, a full court press, bringing the ball up half court. There's a lot that we have seen, a lot of evidence that you can point to that suggests exactly what I'm saying. But we'll see, man. We'll have to see. I'm not going to go full steam ahead with this one. I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a while. I'm just going to shut up in regards to the game. I'm just going to watch the game. I'm just going to watch the game. No live tweeting. Well, there might be a little bit, but I'm going to try and tamper down some of the brazen shit talk. I'm just gonna tone it down and let things play out for what they are, because game 3 is going to be telling. It's going to be one of those things where it either decides the series or it'll really, really extend it. And that's obvious, right? If they end up losing tonight, there's no way in hell they're going to win 4 straight. But if they do win, series is back. Series really, really is back in. And 2-1, even if Indiana fans feel otherwise, I don't know how, if Indiana loses tonight, I don't know how you could reasonably feel as if the series is just a done deal. Because if the Cavaliers end up winning tonight, it's still very much on. And there's still every bit the possibility that the Cavaliers could win 4 straight here. And at the very least, there's every bit the possibility that this series could go 7 games. So there's a lot that's going to hinge on tonight from a future standpoint. The other thing that needs to be said is this. I've seen so many fans out there suggest that pending the outcome of this series, the Cavaliers need to look to blow this thing up. And I'm like, where are you? Like, why? Why are we just simply using this moment, the context that's just being thrown to the wayside? Are we using this moment to suggest that the core 4 doesn't work together? Because to me, you don't have, like, the injuries just killed all progress. They killed what could have been and what still is very much in play. But at the end of the day, for the people out there pending on the outcome of this series, hinging on the outcome of this series, that are going to be willing to suggest that the Cavaliers need to move off of Darius Garland or move Jared Allen, I don't know why people believe that should be the case. It's just horrific timing in regards to the injuries. And I know there are also people out there that believe that even if they do end up coming back to beat Indiana, they have no shot against whoever comes out in the other side of the Eastern Conference bracket, whether it be the surprising New York Knicks, who have gone up 2-0 over the Boston Celtics. How about that? How about the fact that the number 1 and number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference are both down 0-2 on their home court? It's crazy to me. It truly is. But neither of these teams, whether it be the Boston Celtics or the Cleveland Cavaliers, should truly be counted out. And it's for different reasons, obviously. But the context is being missed along the way. But there are some people out there that legitimately believe, even if the Cavaliers end up beating Indiana, that it's still over, because the Cavaliers' nagging injuries are just going to get to them, whether that be Donovan Mitchell dealing with his, or Darius Garland, or Evan Mobley, or DeAndre Hunter, whoever else. You got to take it a game at a time. I think they have earned, with what they have done this season, it's been a magical year and it's still not over yet. I think they've earned the benefit of the doubt. To the people who feel like they're soft, just give them the opportunity to go out there and show you. Because prior to the injuries, I did legitimately feel like they were dispelling that notion. They absolutely destroyed Miami. And again, totally different tier of an opponent. But I didn't see a lot of softness in that series. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw guys like Sam Merrill really getting up into not Ty Jerome, Tyler Harrow. I saw Dean Wade making life difficult on Harrow. They really just picked on Harrow and company, right? I did not see Bam Adebayo bullying Jared Allen or Evan Mobley. I did not see Andrew Wiggins making life difficult on any of the wings out there. I did not see Davion Mitchell exposing Ty Jerome or Sam Merrill or Darius or Donovan. I did not see any of that. And these, especially in the case of Davion, these are physical guys. I don't believe they're soft. I just believe that people have gotten to a point now where they're not putting themselves in the player's shoes. Just because they're multi-million-dollar athletes does not mean they're not human. They're not robots. These guys, you just gotta. To me, I think they've earned the benefit of the doubt. But if they don't suit up in Game 3, I really don't know what direction this is going. That's all I can really say in regards to Darius, Evan, DeAndre moving forward. I'm just hoping that they suit up, because if they do, I think we got a series on our hands. If they don't, chances of it being closer to being over are exponentially higher than not. But even with that being the case, like you saw how well from a defensive standpoint that they played against India in Game 2. And look, this has to be said, has to be mentioned. Indiana hasn't exactly performed to the highest of their capabilities either. So we'll just keep it a buck in that regard. They have turned the ball over a ton. You saw that in Game 1. You saw that in Game 2. They have not been very careful with the basketball. They did not start out Game 2 shooting very, very well, especially from the perimeter. And they were getting a lot of the same types of looks that they had gotten in Game 1. But Cleveland's rotations, their closeouts were a lot better. But still, they had some open looks in Game 2 that they failed to capitalize on after absolutely just shooting the lights out in Game 1. They have not been the best that they can be either. But should say a lot that the Cavaliers were able to do what they did in Game 2 for about 3.5 quarters, till the final 2 minutes of the game. Let's just say that, because there's always going to be ebbs and flows in games. Teams are going to make runs, as Cleveland led by as many as 20, I think twice on two different occasions. They led, they had big leads, but the biggest lead was 20, and Indiana erased that one and marched their way back. And we've seen that. We've seen Cleveland do that to teams. It just happens. It's a part of the game. You don't want to see it happen. We don't want to acknowledge that that's the case, but it does happen. And no lead is truly safe in the NBA. I think you saw OKC. They've learned that. We've seen Boston learn that against New York. No lead is truly safe, especially with the three-point shot being as big as it is in the NBA. So Cleveland has to go out there. They got to take care of business. Ty Jerome has to be better. We have to hope that one to two of these guys, if not all three of them, come back for Game 3, and then we truly get to evaluate whether or not this thing is done or not. We'll see. Time will tell. I'll be here live streaming after the game, win or lose. I'm hoping that I don't have to sit through another truly stressful performance, but the reality of the situation is that we very, very likely will. It's probably going to come down to another very, very, very stressful game that keeps us on the edge of their seat, which is why I'm just going to sit back. I'm not going to be trying to rile people up too much and just see what happens, because I do believe this team has what it takes to win this series, whether that be in 6 games, whether that be in 7 games. I still believe in my heart of hearts that it ain't over. We shall see. As I always tell you guys, if you'd like to reach out, you know how you can. It's Cavalier_pod on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and more. If you'd like to be added to this Cavalier Discord chat, you know what to do. Leave a rating, leave a review, send a screenshot of said review to itscavalier53@gmail.com, and I will send you said invite. If you want to support the pod in a small but helpful way, consider becoming a member over on Patreon. You can do so for as little as $1. That will get you exclusive content, early access to some of the YouTube stuff. Maybe you'll jump on here and be a co-host with me for a day, or you'll also get the access to the Discord chart. That said, go Cavs.